Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be looking at the 2012 Subaru Legacy and seeing why we are having a coolant consumption issue and what's causing that. Is it leaking? Is it drinking it? Is it burning it? We have no idea. We're going to dive in and figure out why. Yo, this thing could really not need what I think it needs. So if the head gasket was blown and going in the engine, we would see white smoke. I feel like if it was coming out of the engine, we would see something, but I don't see any fluid coming from there. And honestly, the oil pan just has oil on it. I mean, it looks like a gasket's leaking or something, or someone hit something maybe. I don't know. I don't see any marks on it. I'm not sure about the other head, but if not, I don't know. I guess it's got a slight coolant leak. And that's honestly the most concerning thing. That's the thing that drives us to believe there might be a blown head gasket. But it doesn't look bad under there. I would totally keep and fix this as a daily. I mean, it looks like it needs small things, as any car with any age does, but it doesn't look bad down there. Like I said, a clamp on that exhaust, or get it done right, have someone weld it. I'm not gonna trailer it to get it welded, and I'm not gonna, register it to drive it to get welded. So I'll leave that for the next person, but really is not a bad car. Subarus have coolant issues, head gasket issues all the time, so I'd rather just use what they recommend, which is the Subaru Blue Coolant. So I'm just going to top this off and see how much it takes to fill it up. Okay, so we just filled this up, and honestly, if this stays full throughout the duration of the night, then that's a good thing. But I'd almost rather it be draining out or have a leak, because that would mean it's just something as simple as like a radiator, I would imagine. I mean, if the system's full and it's draining. I spilled a little coolant. I tried really hard not to, so it kind of makes it hard to tell if anything's dripping, if it's from, maybe a minor spillage. But if, it's going down very, 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 very slowly. So I don't know. We'll leave it. We'll let it sit overnight, see what happens. If it all drains out, it's not a bad thing. It took probably half the bottle. I know it was topped off before I got it, but guess we just wait and see what happens. If not, that means it is probably burning it, which is a sign of a head gasket. And honestly, it'd just be good to have an answer as to what could be wrong with the car, We're losing oil, but I think it's an oil pan gasket. I don't think it's related to it. The oil in the engine looks, good for what it is. It's just a little dirty, but not from coolant. So it could just be burning coolant, which is a sign of, the head gasket could not have failed yet, but it could be failing, or, it did fail. I'm not too sure. I guess we just come out in the morning and see where this sits. Okay, actually, guys, I actually found there is a leak. Even weirder, I think it's just dripping down the block from right up here. I found this wet spot, and when I squeeze the hose, there's actually coolant just pouring out right here instead, which looks, again, like a line. Oh, that would be so sick. Boys, I'm so excited to announce that this thing probably does not need a head gasket, unless it's leaking at the bottom as well, which I doubt. We literally found, that is so awesome. You can just hear and see it coming from there, which makes it leak down here and all the way down the side. And then, it's at the crack of the head, so it's leaking right there to make you think that it was a head gasket. Honestly, I could probably just order both heater hoses. I'm just trying to use my camera right now to see where it connects. If it's the lower one, that's a little bit more of a bummer. The top one looks so much more fun to change and easy. But they both connect right here, so irregardless, if I take the top one off, the bottom one probably shouldn't be terrible. Worst comes to worst, the intake comes off, but that really shouldn't be the biggest deal in the world either, so I'm pretty stoked right now. So it's actually been a full day, and I'm back out here now, though, to check out the leak today. So I basically just got to get this plastic air box off. I don't really know what holds it down besides those two 10 millimeters. So I got to do a little looking around. I'll let you guys know what I figure out. So I'm still looking for exactly how this comes off. But there is this little plate that did come off, which was kind of nice. I'm hoping that it's they're not too crazy. Oh, I understand. This is literally attached to this hose. That is so simple. So we're going to pop that off, get that hose clamp off, and get this piece off. All right, wonderful. It sucks because it's getting dark again. I kind of was hoping to get out here before it got dark, but we've gotten this intake plenum off, essentially, and now it gives us a little bit better look at what we're looking at. So although it's getting dark again, and the video's starting to look like it did last night, I really just need to figure out which one of these hoses is busted. Now, if it's the bottom one, I mean, it's not the end of the world. I just don't know where that one goes. I think it comes all the way to the front of the engine. Could be wrong. I'm just not too sure. I don't really see where it goes into the back of something down there, which would only mean we have to take off this piece of intake as well, which I don't think is the end of the world either. It doesn't look fun, I'll tell you that. It could be something super simple. I don't know. I've never taken these apart. I bet it is the bottom one. I mean, that would really make the most sense. It's just soaked down there, and of course that's going to rot. Metal being wet all the time down there, salty. So, honestly, to work on this the best way we can, it'd probably make the most amount of sense to pull this plastic panel off, which I will have to come back out to in the morning to do. But if I get to it without filming, it just looks like, well, it doesn't look fun, I can tell you that. We got this metal bracket right here, held on by 2 10s, maybe a 12. That looks like it's just hooking it down. And actually, over here, it would be the same thing, same kind of bracket. We just have to undo the bracket here, this hose here, and this hose went to that other plenum. And I think that's all I need to do to really pop this off, is just release these brackets. I think that's what's clamping this down. So, let's get this hose off here now. I undid the line that holds in. I'm pretty sure those are our fuel lines. Well, I know there are fuel lines. We're going to pull that up off there, see if this will come right off or not. Yeah, it's going to need a little aggression. Okay, so I actually just gave this a good pull, and unhooking those bolts actually unhooked it from the block, which makes sense. Obviously, this bracket kind of hooks up to there, so I'm going to have to come back out in the morning and play with it some more. But it is moving now, which is a very good step. That's our whole intake, essentially. Yeah, we're moving on this side, too. So, looks like we got a lot of little things to undo. Probably some sensors, things like that to unbolt off of it. It is a little deeper than I did want to go, but it'll make accessing this line so much easier because it is right on the block. It's no wonder that line blew. I mean, they're like squishing each other down there. So once this is off, I mean, it'll give us all the room in the world to work right there, and things will be awesome. All right, it's a new day. We are out here, plenty of sunshine. I've just removed the hose that goes to the brake booster. Now over here, it's looking like we got to undo some sensors to free this up. Is quite a few sensors, I guess. Some hoses too. That doesn't look too fun. Maybe it'd be best if I can just remove the throttle body from the box. It seems like my choice is to take my ratchet and somehow fit it down in here to access some 10mm bolt that's facing this way, all the way down at the bottom. If I can get that off, basically you can just separate this and lift this black box out of my way, because it's what's really in my way. All right, so we're down here now, taking off the throttle body, so I can actually take off the body of the throttle body. I don't know, or the throttle. I don't even know. It's another piece behind the throttle body, I guess. But it's missing a bolt, so someone's been here. All these gaskets looked kind of aftermarket from outside anyway, so just gonna pull this off to get the bolt out and just continue working away at getting this plastic box out. Oh, no way. I actually realized that the throttle body is connected to a different box down there. So I think I've gotten this out. We just had to remove it. Someone did break a bolt in here. I'm going to give a go at trying to remove it. If I can't, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to blow your engine or give you a hard time or anything like that. But it's not a great thing. I hate to leave something hacked that somebody else already hacked. But I'm going to try to remove everything that's in this way and just kind of lift this out of here. I guess there is no shortcuts to this at all. I'd take out the little air filter piece for now, and it seems like I have to remove this big bracket here and some sensors just to get this out, but that's okay. I'm going to do all that, and probably the same thing on the other side. Get those brackets out of the way, then I think we'll be good to lift this out. So being my first time working on one of these, it's all pretty interesting. I mean, it is a unique engine for sure. Just in like, these are literally your fuel injectors, and they go into those little ports there, so all pretty cool. If I undo these sensors, I'm hoping I can just kind of wiggle this out of the way because it's hoses and fit it through this slot when I lift up. And the other side is not looking as forgiving because of the big AC line. And to remove the AC pump, you got to undo everything else and the belt. that just sounds like a full-on mess. So what Subaru probably wants me to do, realistically, because I think I might still have issues, is completely disconnect this from right there. I don't know how to take that fitting apart. I can look it up. I'll figure it out if that's what I have to do. But I'm just undoing more sensors down here. All right, so I've pretty much gotten everything out of the way. Next thing I got to do is remove this line, and then right here there's this little green clip. You want to go 90 degrees from these two little dots, fit some picks in there, and kind of pry on this little ring gently to pop this line off. And then, I don't know, I don't really think I have a good enough pick for it, but I'm going to give it a go and see what I can do. We are so close now, it's crazy. So I just removed a little air hose off of this plastic sensor to the throttle body, and then I removed the fuel hose actually from back here, so now we can just pull this right out. Yes, W. And now I can just kind of try to work my way to get this thing out of the way. Well, it's a small victory, but I will take it. The intake is off. W. So it does seem like no matter how I twist this, it wants me to take this bad boy off. Only other thing I'm going to do real quick, too, is stuff some rags in those holes and get the shop back out here and give this a good cleaning. That way I can kind of see and access things better, and we don't have any dirt and debris going into those holes, because that is not something you want. To add in some other news, I actually have an official showing now. It is coming from that little pipe. So, and it's so close to the crease that I can't even slide a hose over it if I had wanted to. So, I'm gonna do a little look around online, but I'm probably gonna remove this hose right there, that metal line that goes to the heater hose, and then see what it's gonna take to get that other one out. So again, it's seeming like I'm going to have to take out that AC condenser to get to what I need to. So I just got to take a good look at this now. And I imagine we got a tensioner somewhere. It might be right here. I'm going to figure it's that. Yep. So I got to put the right size socket on there, maybe a 14, and just pull that and get the belt off. But just wanted that good look at the belt. It is probably an excellent idea to drain your coolant out before doing this job. I don't even know. It's not really much of a how-to, but it kind of is. It's just a good content showing you guys what I'm up to, honestly. But I took the 10mm out of here, and I just realized that if I crack that, coolant might go everywhere, and this sits a little bit lower. So I'm going to get this cleaned up right now, and then kind of tuck something in there, and just kind of very carefully remove that hose so the coolant doesn't leak into the engine. Hey, not bad. A little bit of coolant leakage from that hose when I got it off. That was a very difficult hose to get off, actually. I'm kind of just hoping it goes back in. But that's a problem for another day, I guess. Now I think I'm going to move over to the belt. So the biggest downside about this project right now is it is freezing out here. So I'm going to just kind of go crazy with this real quick and see what I can get off. There's two 10 or 12mm bolts, it looks like, that hold this bracket on, or just one there and one down here. That holds a wiring harness in. I'm going to unclip this and get this out of the way. And I need to unclip it to remove the bracket so I can get to the condenser. There's a bracket. There's a bolt there, though. There's a bolt right here. I don't know if I have to take this pulley assembly with me. I will if I need to, if it's a part of the bracket, which means I'll have to undo the alternator bolt right there. My plan is to unhook this without unhooking any of the lines, so I can just move it out of my way to access wherever that hose goes so I can install my new one. There's a bolt right there. There's a bolt right there. Maybe a couple little sensors. Maybe I'll unplug all these sensors to get it out of the way. And I'll most likely unhook this as well just to, again, get it out of the way. Another good thing to do, too, is just completely disconnect your battery. Haven't had any issues yet. Like, I didn't arc anything, but, I mean, it's just good practice, especially now that I'm going to things like messing with the belts and alternator and things like that. It's just a good safety precaution. You don't really know what you're going to get into, and all this needs to be cleaned up anyway, so kind of a good place to, kind of a good thing to do. This little bracket, you just crack the bolts and it comes right out. So still working on it. Got these sensors, this little black one at the top, this gray one here, and just the alternator and that green one. So coming along. So as I get a little further down into this, it makes a little more sense. So we've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4 bracket bolts removed. Got them up there, and Now it looks like I can remove this one, or I can just skip over and take the alternator bolts. There's one down there, one down there. And I think if I remove those two, I can pull it up off, but I think I'm going to separate the alternator altogether just because it'll make my life a little bit easier when it comes time just to move this out of the way. It'll be less things to have to flop over. And this will pretty much give me my access to there, and I just got to do a lot of research online to figure out what pipe I need. I tried to look around, and it wasn't too clear. So actually, there's a bolt down here that I actually just cracked that I didn't need to. The alternator's just held in up here and down here, but I've removed the whole bracket, so I actually just lifted this, and it's moving, which is awesome. There's a bolt down there, you can see, and I had to take the pulley off, which was super easy. So now I should be able to take this and flip it up over, loosen this bracket, pull the alternator off so it's not too much of a mess. These hoses are what give me the leeway to fold this on its side. And then I'm going to plug up those holes. I vacuumed it all up so everything's clean. And like I said, after that, it's just to locate the part, see what it looks like, and we can order a new one. Okay, so this had me extremely anxious at first. I was like, wow, Subarus are the worst car to ever exist if this is what I thought. I thought this hose was like down here where you had to take apart the timing chain. I would have literally have given up. This car was not worth that to me. But we get a little closer here. So down in there, I can see little pitones. You can see just one ear to a hose clamp, which is just like such a relief. So I think I'm gonna come out in the morning. It's freezing out here. Get a little daylight, that'll help. And I gotta lift up the car, undo that hose down there, and then undo it up to the heater core and get that thing pulled out. It's that simple. There's like a 10 millimeter here and over there, and undo this little hose. And after that, I'm gonna pull that out, show you guys what broke, and wow, things are just going phenomenal. So that hose is pretty much free now, nice and loose. I just have to take it off this rubber hose, get down under here, remove the clamp, and once I've done that, I can't wait to just get that part out. That was like the hardest part, but it is nice that it's just that pipe instead of a whole head gasket. I think after just trying to access this, I'm happy I don't have to do a whole head gasket. So close to victory. Okay, so I can't pull this hose up because this is in the way. Whatever this is. I don't know if it deals with air, fuel. Looks like just air, actually. Maybe I can just disconnect this hose and pull it out. But I also think I have to disconnect this little oil filler to get this out of here. I mean, they're not too kind with it, but we'll get it out of here. We did it, boys. Get that out of here. And I'll see you when I get a new one. So we're inside now with our coolant crossover pipe, and right there, right in this little crack, you can see a dark spot. That is a pinhole. That was just leaking out all the coolant in in the course of like a day or two when the truck, especially when the car's running, is just plowing out of there. So hype to get the new pipe and go out there and put it back on there. I guess now's a good time to give you guys a fast update of what I got going on while I wait for the coolant crossover pipe to come in. I did clean out the interior. I realize this isn't stained. It is just literally still wet. I mean, it's got light staining like over here and stuff, but that is just because it is still soaked. We did scrape off the old inspection sticker. There was no point to have that up there anymore. I don't know for sure what this car will take to pass, to be honest, but I can't imagine there'll be much really after this is done. I'm tying up all the loose ends, though. I fixed the door gasket. I fixed the back seat down there for now, so that looks perfect. It's not hanging down anymore. And I think just small things like changing the wiper, giving it an oil change, changing the oil pan gasket once I get the pipe on here. And this car will be ready to go online. The new pipe is finally in. This is what it looks like compared to the old one. Obviously, that one's seen some days, that is for sure. But this is the new pipe. It looks amazing. I don't see any flaws in it, so we are all set to put this back in. I'm not going to make you guys watch me put this whole thing back together, just because it's really not much of a how-to, and if you want to know how-to, watch a video in reverse. Like, you just undoing the things that you undid originally to put it back together. So basically, I just got to feed this down there, pull this pump out of the way, feed this down there. I'll show you guys what it looks like once I finish, and we'll give it a start test and make sure we're not losing any coolant. And that is pretty easy vid right there. The hose is now secured down. It's in there. That makes me so excited. Gonna put this back in place, get all the belt back on with all the pumps and the alternator. And I think the trickiest part about it is going to be refeeding these fuel line things, just the hoses and everything, back through the intake, getting it on, and then getting the little metal clamps on. That's probably the hardest of it, to be very honest. Just make sure all your bolts are tightened that you touched, and I don't want to bore you guys with 20 minutes of putting this thing back together when you just obviously saw me take it apart. And just like that, our new line is in. The coolant leak is officially fixed. It's just getting everything back together, filling it with fluid, and testing it out, making sure everything was tight and good to go. All right, guys, and bam, it is all back together. Everything is where it needs to be. Everything is plugged in. And I put some water and baking soda mixture on there, try to remove some corrosion off that positive terminal. This one is pretty loose, so I'm actually going to replace these. Car needs it pretty bad. And honestly, it might actually clear up the lights on the dash. There's a couple little lights on the dash, and I think it's just because of the corrosion. I don't think there's many things really wrong with the car. And to add, that one's just loose. So anyway, we are out here, and we're going to give this a start. But hey, it started, W. I'm like actually hyped. Well, all right, guys, as you've seen, the car is now running. I just got everything back together. So I think there's going to be a third video. It'll be extremely light stuff and probably some sort of car style vlog. Maybe the Subaru content will be towards the end of the video. But I want to do little things like change these battery terminals, figure out a plan for the exhaust, maybe put a clamp around it for now and just tell them that, you got to drive it somewhere to get the exhaust properly welded. I just don't have plates on it, so I'm not going to trailer it because I don't have a trailer. And I'm not going to register it to go fix the exhaust. So we've done a lot of little things. There's a couple other small things that still need to happen. I'm pretty happy with the progress of today's video. We figured out the coolant leak. That was the premise of the video, is why is the car losing coolant? And what did we have to do to fix it? And she is fixed now. And the fuel leak was just, noob error, I guess. I mean, it wasn't really anything I was too worried about. I figured if it wasn't that, it was just like an O-ring. But, yeah, pretty happy. So I'm going to call that here. And if you want to see some more cool car content in the future, I wouldn't say this is a cool car, but we have plenty of cool projects. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out.